Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Get Comfy, where today we are joined by Brendan, and we're going to be talking about
Henry Walton Jones Jr.
So get out your whips and hide your snakes. Let's get comfy. Explain to me, Henry Walton Jones, is that his real name?
Junior.
Junior?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's been so long since I've seen the movie.
Yeah. So it goes by Indiana because he has very fond memories of that dog.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Just like, was it Spielberg's dog or was it
George Lucas?
George Lucas's dog was Indiana. Spielberg's dog was something else because they were going to name him like Sparky Jones or something, weren't they?
Montana.
I
think it was like Montana or something like that.
Okay.
Was the original plan. But they named him after George Lucas's
George
dog.
Lucas's dog instead.
I want to say it was a husky, Siberian husky.
Ooh, that's a fun name.
Indiana. I had a dog
Did
named Indiana.
they purposely plan that, Indiana and Montana?
I don't know.
Because they were like college roommates or some shit like that.
They were good friends, and Indiana Jones came out of it was right after Star Wars.
Yes.
They were, I think, sitting on a beach in Hawaii. And
I did read that, yeah.
Yeah, and Spielberg was talking about how he wanted to direct a James Bond movie.
Yes, because his like World War II movie like just bombed or something.
1941,
like,
yeah.
1941
had
bombed, and he's like, I need something safe.
Yeah, and he wanted to do it had been his like life goal to direct an a James Bond movie. And George Lucas went, well, I have a better idea for you. And he
Is that how he actually talked to him?
Hey,
Stevie.
George Lucas impression, yeah. But yeah, he told them this idea about Montana Smith, I believe, or maybe it was Indiana Smith all along. I don't know.
I remember like hearing something where they were like, we just want like the most like basic vanilla name ever.
And it was either a different name or like maybe Montana Smith is the porn version. I don't know.
Because he was also supposed to have like laser guns or some shit like that too, right? In like early renditions, I think he was supposed to be like a space cowboy or something. And then they dumbed it down. They're like, no, let's just keep it like relatable.
That part I don't know.
So it was originally Indiana Smith.
It was
Indiana Smith. Okay.
And it was an Alaskan Malamute.
He's a good looking
I can't tell which one's the dog here.
The one on the right.
You've seen that picture where it's like sometimes dogs look like they're humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. This human definitely looks like his dog.
Yeah. But that was the whole idea. It was supposed to be Spielberg's James Bond.
I like it.
Was where Indiana Jones came from. And it was his name was Indiana. But then when in the third one, Last Crusade, they introduce James Bond as the father, Sean Connery. He keeps calling him Junior throughout the entire movie. And you never know why. You just think it's a nickname. And then the very end of the movie is...
the big reveal.
I don't want to do the accent, but Saleh.
Do it.
Saleh is the British Egyptian guy, played by John Rhys Davies. Says, "What does it mean? This Junior?" And Sean Connery responds with, "Well, that's his name, Henry Jones Jr." And Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, looks at him and goes, "I prefer Indiana." And Sean Connery's response is, well, we named the dog Indiana. And his response is, I have a lot of fond memories of that dog. And then Saleh, the dog? You're named after the dog? And then they laugh.
And then they ride
off into the sunset.
And it's how every movie needs to end.
It would be great if that's how it ended.
So I have a question for you too.
Yeah, hit me.
Because we're talking about like dads and all that stuff, and my dad, he's the reason I watched Indiana Jones, Star Wars, like all the old sci-fi stuff. Yeah. I got that from my dad. How did you get into Indiana Jones? What made you pick that up?
So I think it was my dad.
Okay,
but the only, not to get emotional, the only like real memory I have of my dad's dad, who was a senior.
Okay,
my dad is a junior.
Also named after the dog.
Full circle. Yeah. Interestingly. But the only memory that I have is it was right after Last Crusade came out in like 92 or something like that. They were showing, I can't remember if it was it or Raiders on TV. And it was when my parents' anniversary, or for some reason I was staying with my grandparents.
Okay.
And it was the premiere. They were doing the premiere of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Oh, I forgot about that show.
Sean Patrick Flannery, man.
Holy shit.
Boondock Saints connection.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So they were premiering the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and then showing one of the Indiana Jones movies right after it. And so that whole night was just Indiana Jones. And I remember sitting on their floor. They had they were in a retirement community, but like sitting on their floor with their big wood box, like wooden tube
the good
TV.
old, like,
yeah.
with like the 18-inch screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember watching the whole thing. That's like the earliest memory that I really have, and the only one that I really have of my grandfather is sitting there watching that with him.
Okay.
And
Respect.
then it was like, you know, me and my dad's thing as we were growing up. Like we've gone to see it, and so the original ones in retrospectives, and
That's really dope.
we've seen the two that have come out since I've been an adult in theaters. We've gone to see together. So
The best one, some would say.
somewhat. I've seen a lot of love for the new one. People who didn't really grow up with the old ones, who've seen the new, you know, it's the Star Wars prequel sequel thing. It's whatever you grow up with.
It gets
Whatever your
the
generation
bad
is.
taste of the fourth one out of your mouth. It's
See,
something better.
I'd take the fourth one over the fifth one.
No.
I would.
That says a lot. 'Cause I haven't seen the fifth one, but the fourth one was pretty bad.
But okay. So I was a hard defender of the fourth one for the longest time until I watched them all back to back to back to back. Because like as a standalone film, it does what it's supposed to do, right? The original trilogy was designed as like action serials from the 30s. So a larger than life figure who was going on an adventure, right? That was the idea of the movies. And that's what they're designed after. They are action serials from the 30s, just big budget Hollywood movies. Because it was set in the 30s, right? So it was following the type of media that was popular then. The fourth one was set in the 50s when really bad, cheesy sci-fi movies were popular. And it is a really bad, cheesy sci-fi movie just with A-list actors and a Hollywood budget. Like,
Yeah, and
so it accomplished what it set out to accomplish, just poorly.
there's like two things that I have huge issues with, though, with the Crystal Skull. And so the big one is probably more Harrison Ford's fault, because Harrison Ford is on like this mission right now to kill all of his characters or get replaced or something like that. So like Han Solo's dead, you know, and I think he was trying to spoilers. And I think he was trying to do the same thing with Indiana Jones. He was trying to like kill his character off.
I don't think
or
so.
replace his character, or maybe the studios were trying to get like
was trying to set it up.
Yeah.
He's said in multiple interviews that Indiana Jones is the only character he ever really wanted to revisit.
Which is funny because he didn't want to play him originally, right?
No, they didn't want him.
Yeah, they wanted Tom Selleck.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones.
yeah, but they didn't want Spielberg and Lucas didn't want him because he was Han Solo.
Correct.
So they didn't want to kind of get the idea that he was their go-to guy.
Right.
So originally, yeah, he wasn't cast because of that.
And then Miami Vice or whatever. Not
Magnum
Miami.
PI.
Magnum PI changed that.
Yeah.
So that's issue one I had with Crystal Skull.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely setting Shia LaBeouf up as the next
As the
version.
new indie guy.
Mutt Williams.
Something like that.
That was his name.
Was he his son?
Yes.
He was. Okay.
Yes.
And now the new movie is his daughter?
No. His
Niece?
goddaughter.
Goddaughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or so
And
when
Mutt's just completely erased now because Shia's crazy.
they deal with it.
Okay.
They deal with it in the fifth. They explain it. The way they handle that was, to me, like the best scene in the fifth movie.
It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the way, like, when they deal with that, it's the only time where I'm like, that man can act. Like,
They also they gave it enough time to deal with it, and they didn't dwell on it. They're like,
yeah.
this happened. It's over. Let's go.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It was great.
It was,
You guys didn't actually talk about it. I don't care. Like, what
I mean,
happens?
So they kill him off.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
send him
okay.
to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So the way they play it out is Mutt joined the military. Henry Jones the third, I believe, is technically his name, and he goes by Mutt Williams because he was raised by a friend of Indiana Jones and Marion Ravenwood.
Okay.
But he joins the Vietnam War and is killed overseas, and joined the war in response to trying to rebel against
His
Indiana.
dad. Okay.
Right? So he blames himself throughout the movie, or he blames himself. And there's one scene you see. There's a passing camera shot where you see the flag and his portrait, and then there's a scene where they're on a boat and drinking, and the I don't remember her name, Helena, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the goddaughter, from the new one, says something to him that he's a bad father. I forget the actual context, but like he says, or she says something like maybe it's why your son doesn't talk to you or whatever. And he's like, well, he died because he joined the military to get away from me. He's like, and I've never forgiven myself. And that's when you find out that's why his marriage to Marion failed, and all that he has never forgiven himself for Mutt dying. And it's like the emotion.
That is actually like a really cool way of dealing with it.
Yeah. And like, I mean, yeah.
It ties in with the time, and it's like a completely understandable way.
Yeah, explains why he's not around anymore. Also explains why Marion's not in the movie much.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah. And then, but it is like, it's the best acting he does in that entire movie.
Which I haven't seen Harrison Ford act in a hot minute.
He has moments.
Well, the funny thing is, like, for the first half hour of the movie, it's just a CGI over somebody.
It's him.
What?
They de-aged him. That is Harrison Ford acting like young Harrison Ford.
That's great.
And they just de-aged his face, which is why the sound is wrong and he moves like an 80-year-old man.
Okay, things are clicking now. Because I was watching the movie.
I need to watch this movie.
So the entire first 25 minutes is set in like 1944. It's the fall of the Germans during World War II. And it sets up the rest of the movie. It sets up the MacGuffin, the Dial of Destiny. And but they de-age him for those 25 minutes.
Like the same way they did with Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except,
a lot better.
They do it. It's much better, but it's 80-year-old Harrison Ford playing 50-year-old Harrison Ford. But it is 80-year-old Harrison Ford's body movement and 80-year-old Harrison Ford's voice.
I mean, considering what that guy went through, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like 40 and walking like an 80-year-old.
So you got it up there. Like, they do a good job.
That's really good.
It looks like him. He's also, I mean, for an 80-year-old man, is in incredible shape. Mm-hmm. Like, he does a good job. You can't, the physicality doesn't really play into it. Like, it's not like, what was the Irishman? Where Robert De Niro, 90-year-old Robert De Niro is curb stomping someone, and it looks like it's an 80-year-old who's supposed to be a 30-year-old. But he's nimble, like he can move. It's just it's kind of the uncanny valley of it doesn't quite look right.
So I have a very hot take, and this is just because of how I was raised. Temple of Doom was the first indie movie I saw.
Chronologically, it's the first indie movie.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Honestly, it's been a long time since I watched it. So when I watched that, I thought that's what all of the Indiana Jones movies were going to be. So then I think the next one I saw was The Last Crusade.
Okay.
So I watched both of those, and I was like, thinking The Last Crusade, I was like, man, this is nowhere near as cool as someone like getting their heart ripped out and like all that stuff. And then I went back and watched the first one, which I thought was like the third one at the time. And I was like, wow, okay, I love this one the best because, finally I understand like what's going on. And then, I got older and realized all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to wrap it all back to the second thing I hated about the Crystal Skull. And that's the fact that it's aliens and not like a religious MacGuffin, because the religious MacGuffins I respected more, because like, I was raised as a Christian boy, went to, church every Sunday. I knew about this stuff,
Father, Catholic priest.
Yeah.
Parents met working in the church together. I get it.
Okay. So similar, you might have had a little bit more religious, upbringing
just
than
saying,
me, but,
I get it. Yeah.
But then the fourth movie comes out and they're just like, yeah, aliens. And I was like, fuck this. There's no way aliens are real, which is crazy because now aliens are real.
So the thing I hated about the fourth movie is that they're not aliens. They are interdimensional beings.
Oh, I must have blanked that part out.
If they were aliens, totally different. They are interdimensional
beings.
Yep.
So that's worse.
Yes.
So
aliens would have been fine.
So I guess the big question, which will decide if I like the newest movie,
okay,
Is it back the Dial of Destiny? Is that a religious thing?
It's an actual device.
Okay.
The Antikythera, I think, is
Archimedes.
Archimedes was a person who
He's the
developed,
dial
created
is,
it.
mhm.
Yeah,
Antikythera.
I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
So it's an actual device. It was found, if I remember my history correctly, and I have a bachelor's in history.
Okay.
I don't use it except for
You are now the smartest person in
pub
this room.
trivia. I believe it was a device that was found in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece years ago that had machinations that
We're way too advanced.
Way too advanced. Yeah.
Okay. So like Atlantis stuff.
Yeah. So has led to that and everything. So it's a device that they use it that ends up being time travel, like leading to time travel.
Okay.
So that was the whole point is the bad guy Mads Mikkelsen is trying to find the device so he can travel back in time and win World War II. He's really stuck.
So he's a Nazi. Okay.
Yes, he's a Nazi.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's
okay.
a lot of
I can
Nazi
respect how it goes back
which-
to the Nazi
Yeah.
thing because that's what
that's
the
whole
first movies were based on.
Yeah, and then even
Crystal Skull, was she Nazi?
No, she was
Daughter of Nazi?
Russian?
Russian.
Yeah.
Russian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in the 50s, the Russians were the bad guys.
Yes.
So, he's a Nazi. He's going to go back in time and have the Germans win World War II. That's the Mads Mikkelsen's whole point
Okay.
of finding the device. And
You
then,
know what movie did that better? Kung Fury.
or what's the one where the Nazis are on the wing? Where the Nazis go to the moon? Have you seen that?
Oh, Iron
Eagle?
Skies.
Iron Skies. Yeah.
Iron Skies.
Yeah.
Didn't
Where
they have like Brad
live
Pitt in it
through-
or some shit or
I have
Angelina
no idea.
Jolie?
Are you thinking? Of,
I might be thinking of something
You're
different.
thinking of the one with Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow
Maybe.
with Jude Law.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I-
no shot that Iron Sky had any big.
No,
name
it
actors
is
in
a piece of shit, but it's amazing.
All right, so
an amazing
Yeah,
piece
no
of shit.
known names. I think it's German.
Wait, you're telling me you don't know who Udo Kier is?
Cannot say that I do.
Ugh. And the Puckner? No.
Oh, actually, Udo Kier, I do think I know.
he's one guy I pick out.
He's
all
one of
this.
those guys that's like
He's in every.
he's
movie.
in everything. Yeah, he's like.
Oh.
So that's there's a second one.
There's a second one with
there
dinosaurs?
are multiple of these movies, but the whole premise of the first one is that the Nazis went to the moon after World War II, and then they return.
okay, what was the It's not Action 5. What is the show that was one?
Danger
Network?
Force 5?
Was it just Danger 5?
Or Danger 5 or something. The
And above all else, kill Hitler.
kill the talking dog that was like running. Danger 5.
Oh my
now
God.
this is the greatest show ever.
I might have to.
You have to watch
Have you never
this.
seen it?
No.
Oh my God.
Hitler is alive in this, and his main goal is to go around stealing like the 7 wonders of the world to build a giant like. This is amazing. This is amazing.
It looks amazing.
You need to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's like a task force run by a bald eagle, and I think they get the dog with the cigar. They get the. It's so fucking good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm looking that up.
You have to look this
I will
up.
watch
I
this.
think it's like a miniseries.
I
It's
will
like 10
say-
episodes or something. It's,
No, there's like 5 seasons.
no shit.
But season 3 through 5, they kind of just like went off the rails more so, and it makes no sense.
Okay.
Watch the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
It's incredible.
Okay. I don't
Back
remember
to
what we're talking
Indiana
about.
Jones.
Anyway,
Even
but anyway,
that.
the fifth movie is time travel. And like, there was a part of me watching it where I thought they were going to kill him off. They don't. Spoiler. He gets back together with Marion, and then that's how the movie ends. The issue that I have with the fifth one is it is a basic action movie with Indiana Jones in it. Like there are things that make a movie an Indiana Jones movie. And I think a lot of that has to do with Spielberg and his filmmaking style. James Mangold, amazing director. I mean, Logan is
I didn't know
incredible.
Spielberg wasn't involved at all.
I think he's a producer, executive producer maybe, but
Okay.
James Mangold directed it. And it's a fine movie with Indiana Jones in it. It's not an Indiana Jones movie. Is my problem with it.
I gotcha.
With that being said, I don't think like if any other name was on it, people would go see it though.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it's almost like they took something that existed and just
Yeah.
slapped the name on it, like which they did. It like a lot of the Bond movies were, they took the name of a book, a movie that was already written, and then slapped
James Bond
on it and designed it, but the premise has nothing to do with the book that it's named after. Like Moonraker is I think the most egregious one, where Moonraker the book is great. It's about a rocket, like I don't think it's nuclear, but it's a big rocket. That's the whole thing. And
Big bomb.
A big bomb. And Bond is infiltrating the
Evil guy's
lair to stop the rocket. And the movie was in response to Star Wars.
Yeah, because they actually went to the moon.
The space station or something like that. Yeah. But like the movie itself, nothing to do with the book.
Because he fights Jaws on the moon or something like that, doesn't he?
In a space shuttle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they go to the moon. I think because the premise of that movie is, and wildly unrelated, but is that the bad guy from Moonraker is creating a perfect race, tying back to the Nazis, kinda.
Okay.
He's a Nazi, but not.
He's a
Nazi.
Hey, but you can cancel us.
Please like and subscribe.
Yep. For more World War II jokes.
But he's creating this perfect race in space. That's
the space race.
The space race. That's his plan.
Is this episode over?
Not yet. Whenever you want it to be, go for it. But yeah, so in the fifth one, he travels back in time, and you kind of think he might stay there because he wants to. Like, his son's dead, his marriage is dissolved, he's retired from being a teacher. He doesn't think he has anything, and he thinks dying as part of history is the right way to go.
Okay.
And then he is sucker punched by his goddaughter, and miraculously wakes up back in his apartment in New York. And then the goddaughter, the short round of that movie, and then
we gotta talk about that.
and then Marion all walk in, and he's like, "Marion, what are you doing here?" And
she's like, "Well, you've been married to me for 30 years."
Well, she goes like, "I heard you're back. Are you back, Indy?" And then they kiss. Everyone else goes to get ice cream. Sala shows up, clearly, because he's supposed to. He shows up, takes everyone to go get ice cream, and I'm assuming
that's what they need him to
do. Indy and Marion kiss, and then the movie ends with a I don't know if there's a technical name for it, but it's like the dial-in shot where it's like, just the circle. The screen goes black, and there's a circle on his hat drying outside on his balcony.
Okay.
And he reaches out and grabs it, and then
so they've set it up for a sixth.
No, this will be it. I don't think they're making a sixth. I think it's supposed to say, Indiana Jones will continue, but I don't see them making a sixth movie.
I hope they just bring back young Indiana Jones again.
I see that, or I would have. I'm not in the camp that Harrison Ford has to be Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. Like they did it with James Bond.
They could do it with Bond.
Jack Ryan. Like so many other characters that are literary that they can. Not that Indiana Jones is literary, but they could.
Tom Selleck's not doing much nowadays.
I don't think Tom Selleck is doing well nowadays.
He's in like 4
Ever
cop
since Blue
shows.
Bloods, I don't think. But anyway, yeah. So that's how that. I don't think they're making a six. I do think this was the last one.
This is supposed to be like their sign off. Their thanks for being
but
with us.
But like, I would have no problem with them recasting Indiana Jones. If they have the right person for it, and they've talked in years. I see you have it, pulled up. They've Chris Pratt, Ryan Gosling.
Daddy Pedro.
Unknown. I wouldn't be mad at Pedro as Indiana Jones. It fits. There's always a kid.
Going.
Yeah.
Short Round, the movie.
I think they need to make.
He's come back. He's had like a renaissance.
Yeah.
Well, the guy that played Short Round in the original movie, he was just in Loki season 2.
Yeah. Loki season 2. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. He won the
phenomenal.
God, that was a great movie.
Yeah, the award for. I can't do the paper cut scene.
That was rough. But
I can't do it. But no, the movie was great.
The movie was
fantastic. He's coming back. He's huge, and like I think it'd be great if they did a Short Round movie or like spun it off on him for a little bit. I think that was the original premise, was they were going to have Shia LaBeouf take over after 4, and it was going to be the adventures of Mutt Williams, and Harrison Ford could pop in every now and then, or
Right.
they do a
You'd like call him up on the phone and be like, Dad, I need some help.
yeah, or a Last
Yeah.
Crusade style thing where he joins them for a mission or whatever, or adventure,
Right.
or whatever.
Anyway, enough gushing about Harrison Ford because we can do that whenever. So that is going to be our episode of Get Comfy. But if you liked hanging out with Brendan, make sure you join us next week for Get UnComfy, where we play a little Indiana Jones inspired game with him. Catch you next time, guys.
I'm right arm dominant. This is going to be rough.
Ooh, if you're going this long with your left arm, I can only imagine how long you can go with your right arm.
Average 90
Average.
seconds.
Okay.